Facing History New Tech's commencement ceremony for our first graduating class, the class of 2016. I am Mark Bergolia, Director of Facing History New Tech High School. A couple of reminders. Please turn off your cell phones and just have them on silent. I know you're going to be taking a lot of pictures. Just have them on silent. And keep the celebrations tonight dignified. We welcome you to applaud your child and other graduates, but please recognize that all students and their families deserve the right to have their child's name heard. At this time, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, led by seniors Adam Torres and Angie Jones, and then remain standing for the national anthems performed by FHNT's own math teacher, Alexandra DeMasso. Gentlemen, please remove your caps. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the Rockies redly, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Thank you, Adam, Angie, and Ms. DeMasso. Now I would like to welcome the Honorable Dr. Lisa Thomas, Board Member of the Cleveland Metropolitan School District, Eric Gordon, Chief Executive Officer, Christine Fowler-Mack, Chief Portfolio Officer, Dr. Michelle Pierre-Farid, Chief Academic Officer, Lisa Farmer-Cole, Academic Superintendent, Innovative Schools. I would also like to welcome our graduates' families and friends here to support this class of 2016. We wouldn't have done this without you. Here at FHNT, we are pretty big on having our students reflect on their learning and growth as a student and as an individual. Today, graduates, I would like you to each reflect back to August 22nd, 2012, your first day of high school. I began our first of many family meetings by welcoming each of you as our pioneering students. I told you that as our first group of students, you were special. You were embarking on a completely uncharted journey. I told you this was the only school of its kind in the world, combining Facing History and New Tech, and all eyes would be on us. That every one of you was a risk taker, and that today would be the first day of your journey towards graduation and the acceptance to the college or university of your choice. Not the one your parents wanted, Not the ones I wanted you to go to, but the ones you wanted to go to. We then laughed when I told you to forget everything you've ever learned in school, because this school would be different than any other one. I told you we'd be different by not focusing on old school rules, procedures, and regulations, but instead we'd focus on trust, respect, and responsibility. Trust in yourself and in others. Respect for yourself, your peers, your school, the community, your world, and be responsible to yourself, your parents, your teachers, and me. I told you on this day, and I hope everything I told you was true. We are a unique school because of each and every one of you sitting before me. Together we have built a model school for others to emulate. As I thanked you on day one, I would like to thank you one more time for taking a chance on me and a few crazy ideas of what a high school should be. I can confidently say that I am proud of each and every one of you as our pioneers. I said I wouldn't crack, but it's all right. Many of you don't remember, but on day one, our own Mrs. Wheeler was working for Channel 3 and happened to do a story on us that day. She ended the story with saying, "This school has very high expectations. You have exceeded those expectations tenfold." But no one ever said it would be easy. Throughout your time at FHNT, we pretty much ran the gamut of emotions. Sure, there were some tears. I think each and every one of you cried on my shoulder, told me this is too hard, I want to quit, I can't do this, I'm giving up. A number of you even cursed me out a few times. If only those walls could talk, right? Some of you even threatened to leave and go to another school because you heard it was easier. I think some of you were just really trying to get out of going to class, but that's one thing or another. Just kidding. We usually talk through your issue, whatever you were having that day. We wiped the tears and I walked you back to class. That being said, we laughed a lot more than we cried. Whether it was Adam, imitating Mr. Ramage, Jen having one of her episodes, Alyssa burping at will, Matt and Nelson eating anything you put in front of them. I've never seen two students love school food like Adam and Nelson. Our freshman year, eating lunch in the lecture hall and watching reruns of Wipeout. Or your very first presentations in Algebra 1. By the way, we showed a video earlier and we did not put those presentations up there. Thank God I didn't actually use those plans for my new deck, because I'm pretty sure it wouldn't have been lasted very long. But comparing those to your senior capstones that you did a couple weeks ago, it's truly amazing. In the end, in the end, you've all come a long, long way. We watched you grow from timid young teenagers, unsure of where you wanted to go or what you wanted to do with your life after high school, into confident young adults ready to take on any challenge that comes your way. Our shirts throughout the years had the slogan, "I will make a difference." Fittingly, Raven, where's Raven? Raven designed our senior shirts, and we sported them on our latest trip to New York City a couple weeks ago, and it summed it all up by saying, I made a difference at FHNT. You have helped shape our stellar school into what it is today. You created our first trust cards, ran each of your own dances, including this year's prom, have become anti-gun violence activists, faces of transgender students' rights, worked with countless CMSD elementary students, recruited others to join our family, ran mediations for our underclassmen, modeled restorative justice, became our first link crew leaders, started our redecorating projects, suggested our all-school reads. Zach also designed our logo. That will be, it's up there. Zach designed our logo. And you represented the CMSD and Facing History New Tech positively all over the country, because we did visit New York City and Los Angeles. This is just the smallest of your accomplishments, and it should be pointed out that you have completed all that while still doing everything that was required of you in the classroom. I know, a lot of times that work was not done on time, but in the end, you did what you needed to do. And as of this morning, collectively, the 38 of you sitting in front of me received $713,000 in scholarship money for college. Once again, we are very proud of every single one of you. Now, I would like you to point out one last thing about our first day of school together. Does anyone remember the challenge I gave you? Glad I made an impression. I challenge you not to become another stereotype and another statistic. Remember, I had you stand up, look around the room, and then I asked about 40% of you to sit back down and told you to look around the room again? I told you that the statistic says that those of you sitting would not be graduating high school. I then promised each of you that if you did everything that we asked of you while you were a student with us, you'd be graduating and you'd be bucking that trend. So now, would all graduates please stand? Look around you. Notice I'm not asking any of you to sit down. Give each other a hug. Come on, hug your neighbor. I told each of you that I'd be shaking your hand in June of 2016. Lo and behold, today is the first day of June 2016, and in a few minutes, each of you will be doing that as a graduate of Facing History New Tech High School's inaugural graduating students of the class of 2016. Okay, one final note. Each of you have my cell phone number and the numbers of all those teachers sitting behind you. And we've all supported you along the way. Remember, we are one call away. Pick up the phone. When college beats you down, when life starts to beat you down, pick up the phone, call, text. Any of us move on. Although you're officially leaving us as students, embarking on your next endeavor, you have a special place in our hearts. Congratulations. And now I would like to introduce Mr. Mark Swain Fox, Director of the Cleveland Facing History in Ourselves chapter.
Dear graduates, friends and family, faculty, and distinguished guests, it's an honor to stand in front of you today, and I'm humbled to have the opportunity to address you before you go on to great things. I promise I'll be brief. At Facing History, we talk a lot about the Facing History journey, right? You've seen the thing all over the school. Well, you guys have been on a journey, and a very special one at that. It actually started back in 2009, when the school was just an idea. I just want to take a minute to credit Mr. Gordon, Ms. Fowler-Mack, and Ms. Farmer-Cole to help make that idea become a reality. So I want to say thank you. You all know it began 4 years ago when you came through the door to be the first group to start the only school like it in the world. From day one, you were part of creating something special. As Mr. Rangolia said, it wasn't always easy. You had to learn a new way of thinking with project-based learning. You had to learn and live by the rules of trust, respect, and responsibility. And then you had to work together in ways you had never done so before. Yet, you rose to the challenge. You took advantage of all the amazing opportunities your teachers put in front of you. And I just want to take a minute to recognize those teachers that are sitting behind you, because they are passionate, dedicated, committed educators that are working to making this place as special as possible. So let's take that. But it was you guys who learned from these moments and brought them into the life of your school. You became the leaders of the school, and you have helped shape FHNT into being the special place that it is today. And I feel privileged to be a little part of it along these 4 years. So I just wanted to remind you of some of those amazing opportunities that you guys embraced. We can't name them all because there were so many over the 4 years, but I want to jog your memory with a few photos. They're taken from my phone, so these are not professional photographs or anything like that. But I just wanted to remind you of all the incredible opportunities. So it started with speakers. We had amazing living speakers of history come through this. The first one was Catherine Otoshi. She was a children's author who wrote a book called One, and then you guys put a play together for it, performed it for the whole school, and then at Cleveland State at one of their benefits. You had a Holocaust survivor and a liberator of the Dachau concentration camp come. Then you brought the civil rights movement into this school. One of the key moments of the civil rights was the Little Rock Nine, the integration of Central High School. We had one of those 9 in our midst, Carlotta Walls-Lanier. She spent an entire day with us as we learned together. Then we brought the film, Matt Shepard is a friend of mine, and filmmaker Michelle Josue into the school. And early on, you made a statement about what kind of a welcoming community you were going to be. And Skylar went on and won this National Scenarios contest, had a Hollywood director take his play, put it into a movie, and you guys, you all open your arms and embrace that whole process. Skylar even got to meet the mayor. Then you went on and took trips outside of our school into the area. Some of you went to see Pulitzer Prize winning author Enrique's Journey, Sonia Nazario speak. Joy got to introduce her. You heard from the FBI director, the Attorney General, the President of the United States, and our man Nelson got to ask him a question. You even went to top that off to hear each year your CEO speak here at the City Club, speak at the State of the Schools address. And then some of you even got to perform at the Facing History benefit this last year, where you took a spoken word poem that you wrote and performed that. Some of you traveled to other cities. A group went to New York to visit the Facing History School there and try to bring learning back. And yes, folks, it's where I got my infamous nickname, Uncle Fox. Thanks, guys. I really appreciate that. Next year, and we learned. We learned a ton in New York, but we also had fun. And this next picture you'll see in Times Square. Then we went to LA. Another group of you went to LA to learn more about issues of justice and school-wide projects you could bring back into the schools. You guys were always pushing us to think in new and innovative ways. And who can ever forget this last trip most of us took a few weeks ago to New York, where we had fun and we learned. So, not many schools have this many opportunities at their hands, but you guys took them and you shaped this school into what it is today. I spoke to your teachers to try to prepare for these remarks, and they said they knew this school was going to be a special place. But you, the very first class, exceeded all expectations they had. They told me, they said, you guys aren't just graduating with this degree you're going to get in a minute, but you're entering the world beyond high school as good people. You have a sense of responsibility for your community and each other beyond yourselves. You know how to walk in each other's shoes and how to think globally about big issues. This is going to serve you very well in the world. It's been a pleasure to watch you on this journey. My staff and I, they're in the back here, we work in over 200 different schools, and Facing History New Tech is a special place for us. You guys have always been welcoming to me. You welcome me in the door, you say, what's up, Uncle Fox, how you doing, what are you reading? I always feel special there. But you're going to be greatly missed. I'm going to miss you, your teachers are going to miss you, your peers are going to miss you, but know you're leaving a very strong legacy for future classes to follow. I could not be more proud to say that you are truly Facing History students. So in closing, You all know that the last part of the Facing History journey is choosing to participate. Mr. Angolia puts that "I will make a difference" on every piece of swag we get, which I appreciate. So as you move beyond these walls, I have one last bit of advice for you. Making a difference or choosing to participate doesn't always have to be huge. I was blown away by the serious big world issues you guys took on in your capstones. But remember, making a difference can be small and tangible. By all means, go out and make a difference in this world. But remember, it can mean helping someone in need, lending a helping hand, standing up for someone who needs support who's not being treated fairly. Wherever you land, I know you will make a difference because you already have here. So I thank you, I wish you well, and congratulations. So now I'd like to introduce Autumn Sherrard with another one of our student keynote speakers. Please come up.
Thank you, Uncle Fox. Okay. I'm really nervous. I'm going to try not to show it. Can I pick this up? Yes. Okay. 1 year, 50 students, 8 staff members, 1 principal, 1 school counselor, 1 building, 1 goal. 4 years, 40 students, 29 staff members, 1 principal, 1 school counselor, 1 building, 1 goal. There have been so many struggles, achievements, presentations. So many saying, "I give up," but we've built this school. Many of us from day one to now. Today we look around this room and we can say we all made it here together. Not one of us has made it here alone by ourselves. We've all had help from another student, whether it be a group, a staff member, whether it be Miss Blue or Mr. Ramage. Most of us have said, "I quit, I'm giving up, I'm dropping out." I was one of those. 4 years, 1 goal. That goal that has kept us going from day one. The day is here, the goal has been achieved, we've made it. In the beginning, we were told we were going to go to the college of our choice. How many of you are going to the college of your choice? Can we get a round of applause for this? 1 goal. 1 goal has brought us all together. Many of you may not see it the way I do, but I want to thank every single one of you sitting in this room. I would like to thank you all for pushing me, for challenging me, for having faith. I'd like to thank all of you for not giving up on yourselves, for fulfilling your dream and achieving this goal. Today is the day that we say goodbye. Goodbye to the last 12. Goodbye to the last 12 years that have prepared us for tomorrow. The last 12 years that have prepared us for our futures. Our individual futures start now. So I want to thank all of you one more time for being a part of the beginning of the end and for sticking it out. Your journey starts here. 1 year, 40 students, 6 staff members, 1 principal, 1 school counselor, 1 building, 1 goal. Thank you. And before I introduce our next speaker, I would just like to recognize a few of the people in the school who have really helped me get onto this stage. Mr. Angolia, Miss Wheeler, my best friend Alyssa Gould, Damien Jordan, last but not least, Miss Verde. She's been my mom in the school for the past 4 years. I truly believe that without her, I wouldn't be standing on this stage, so thank you, Miss Verde. Now please help me welcome Jen Roden for her speech.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, faculty, families, and most importantly, the graduating class of 2016. I would like to thank you all for coming out to celebrate. My name is Jennifer Roden, and today I'm here to tell you about how I've grown into the young lady that I am today, and as well as how important it is to make a difference in the world. I hope others can relate to my story and feel the indescribable feeling of accomplishment that I do. When I first came to Facing History New Tech as a freshman, it was a fresh new start for me. I am not the most proud of my first day because I got into an argument with one of my freshman teachers, and she sent me to the office. That's when I first met the principal. I took a look at his eyes and bust out laughing. He was the same height as me. It was so hilarious. I couldn't take the situation seriously. We laughed, and he told me to apologize to her and go back to class. Good or bad, I will always remember this place. I felt like coming to Facing History New Tech was one of the best things that could have ever happened to me. Most of all, it changed me and my life for the better. Because if I wasn't introduced to this school, I don't think I would have came this far to be standing here. I have grown in many ways since being a freshman. One of those ways is never giving up. I always struggled with science. The first time I took my science OGT, I didn't pass it by a few points. I told myself I wouldn't let that define me as a failure. My science teacher and principal gave me the support and my own optimism that I relied on. They also gave me the courage to try a second time. So I started studying and preparing myself for the upcoming test. Took the test once again, finally felt confident, waited for the results, and then recently passed it. I'm very nervous, as you can see. For all the struggles and obstacles I've been challenged with throughout my high school years, I remained dedicated and always worked hard. I only got through it with the help from my teachers, principals, friends, and families. Most of all, I would like to give a big shout out to them. They are the ones that pushed me to try harder. When I felt myself at my breaking point, they told me to never give up. That motivated me every day. I can say it has been a long 4 years. We laughed and we cried at times, but most of all, we learned and grown together. I cherished all the memories we shared. Now it's our time to shine as we head into our bright future, also into the upcoming chapters in our life. We bring our knowledge, memories, and friends with us wherever we go. Our memories will make the bad times tolerable and the good times better. Not every chapter will be light reading. There will be struggles, but never stop writing. Thank you.
Thank you, Autumn and Jen. Now please welcome David Boone, 2012 graduate of MC Squared STEM High School in CMSD, and recent graduate just this past Thursday from Harvard University.
Good evening. Good evening.
Good evening.
Nice. Well, first off, I'd like to say thank you for having me. It is such a privilege. I look out into this room and feel a profound sense of nostalgia. It was only 4 years ago, just a few days off from the date exactly, that I was the class of 2012 at MC Square STEM High School, also the first graduating class. and in a lot of ways in the same position as you guys. And I look out here and what I see is a class of champions. Not to just blow smoke or just to be flattering, but to be quite clear, you're a class of champions for all the reasons that the students have come up and shared, that the administrators, that all the people that have made Facing History New Tech possible have shared about you. It was a lot of beta testing with you all. It was a lot of figuring out how does a school like this succeed, particularly in a district where 40% of you aren't supposed to be here and aren't supposed to be sitting in these stands. And your families aren't supposed to be celebrating and aren't supposed to be joyous and aren't supposed to be proud. And so you're a champion because you have something to be proud of. You've made it this far. And that is something amazing. And I just want to congratulate you once more. And so with being a champion, there's a lot of pressure. If you run the fastest lap, well, next year someone's coming to challenge you, right? So there's always going to be some pressure. But I don't tell you that you're champions to create pressure. And there should be no pressure, because if you're the best, if you're a champion, then you already have the evidence you need to know that you can improve. And you know that you can be a champion for many generations to come. So you'll always be the first. You'll always be the first when Facing History New Tech to go off to college. You'll always be the first when your family to go off to college, or whatever the first you're at. But what will you do with that championship? What will you champion for? What's going to be your cause? They said that you will make a difference. That's always been the goal, is to make a difference. How have you decided to make your difference? And I'm here to tell you that that's something you'll be deciding for the rest of your life. I have gone off to college, first in my family, come from a family with no money, spent several years homeless, and I still don't know what I'm going to champion for. But every day I get up and I champion for something. I get up and I try to be a voice for the voiceless. I get up and I try to represent those who don't have the privilege that I've been given. And so I'm here to tell you today that you also have been given a great amount of privilege. You have graduated from Facing History New Tech with skills that you can take out into the world and that you can implement. And those are things that they cannot take from you. No one can take those things from you, and no one can tell you what you can or can't do. Just by doing this, you have proved that you can do what was previously thought impossible. You have come, you have showed what it means to be a champion for your own self. And now it's time to show what it means to be a champion for others. So last year, I was having a really hard time in college. And this is to tell you a story where, like they said, they're only a phone call away. Use that resource. I was having an extremely hard time in college. And the reason I was having a hard time is because before I left for college as a high school student, my goal was just to make it out of the hood. I grew up poor. I didn't want to be poor anymore. When I got to Harvard, it was very soon that I realized I wasn't going back to the hood. It was just given. There was very little I could do to mess it up at that point, and so I needed a new goal. I needed something new to champion for. And every day I wanted to get up and say, hey, I'm doing this for X reason. I'm doing this for Y reason, so I can run this company or take over this or whatever the case may be. I always wanted to have something to do. And what I realized in all of the course of the time that I spent, and I took some time off from school and I worked, and I thought about not going back. Can you believe that? The kid that gets a full ride to Harvard thinks about dropping out. It's going to happen. It's going to get hard. Just the same way you thought about dropping out here, you're still going to be the first to do what you're doing. And so it's going to get difficult. But I called on the people who are so important. I called on my family. I called on my principal. I called on my mentors. All the people that's in this room for you. Those people who are going to be one phone call away. Don't be afraid to call on them, because they'll be the ones to remind you that the next 4, 6, however long it takes you to figure out what you're going to do with your life is exactly that, time to figure it out. And so you've done an amazing thing being here today. And you're going to take some time between now and starting college to try and figure out life. And I can tell you that most of you won't figure out life that quickly. Just to be honest. And if you ask some of your teachers, they haven't figured it out either. So, be proud, be bold, take risks, do the things that make you happy. And through that, you'll find your purpose, you'll find your calling, you'll find something to champion for. Thank you.
David for those inspirational words. Now I would like to ask our graduating class to stand. Board member Dr. Lisa Thomas will now present you with the class of 2016.
Principal Angolia and faculty, do you attest to the fact that these students have satisfactorily completed the requisite course of study prescribed by Facing History New Tech High School, the Board of Education of the Cleveland Metropolitan School District, and the Ohio Department of Education?
I certify that all students standing before us this evening have met the education requirements of the state of Ohio and the Cleveland Metropolitan School District and have passed all the required parts of the Ohio graduation test. These students are now ready to receive their diplomas.
Now, by the authority of the Board of Education of the Cleveland Metropolitan School District, I have the high honor to bestow upon you, the members of the Facing History New Tech High School Class of 2016, the diploma of Facing History New Tech High School, along with all the rights and privileges granted thereto. Congratulations.
I am Dr. Valletta, and it is my great honor to call to the stage the following students to receive their high school diploma. Amanda Samuel Abuasi. Cassandra Arroyo. Adrian Jean Bush. Joanna Marie Cabrera, valedictorian. Marissa Alexandria Clemens. Skylar Emmett Edge. Wanda Feliciano. Amisael Figueroa. Edwin Figueroa Jr. Ansley Marie Gill. Alyssa Gould. Alexis Kayla Graham. Trevor Isaac Gustovic. Mark Anthony Halcrombie. Tavon Ray Horn. Damien Christopher Jodan. Angela Nicole Jones. Christopher Jones. Nicole Marie King. Stephen Michael Korlak Jr. Jacob Norman McLaughlin. Ashley Amber Middleton. Zuleika Michelle Ortega. Raven Deasia Reynolds. Nelson Iran Rivera. Gabrielle Roberts, valedictorian. Jennifer Lee Roden. Cassandra Rueda. Jacoby Shaner. Autumn Lynn Sherrard. Alexis Marie Simbeck. Richard Anthony Tapia. Alyssa Carol Ann Terry. Adam Torres Jr. Zachary Paul Weiss. Matthew Michael White. Kayvon Young. Alan James Eunice.
School, we love you.
Board member Dr. Lisa Thomas.
On behalf of the Board of Education of the Cleveland Metropolitan School District, Mayor Frank Jackson, and Chief Executive Officer Eric Gordon, I wish to congratulate the men and the women of the class of 2016. Their parents.
Fellow graduates, as the first graduating class of Facing History New Tech, the class of 2016, you may now move your tassels from the right side to the left side.
Before we close, CEO Eric Gordon would like to say a few words.
I didn't know that I was going to say a few words, but given the opportunity, I want to offer you one last thing to take with you as you go out and make your difference. I'm going to ask all the graduates to stand and turn around and face your families, please.
Go Tabor!
First of all, why don't you give that faculty sitting in front of you a great big round of applause for getting you here today. Families and faculty, if you have your cell phone or that old-fashioned thing called a camera, you'll want it now. Graduates, put your left hand up as high as you can reach it. Keep facing your families. Your other left hand, that's right. And on the count of three, I'm going to give you one more direction, and I want you to follow that direction on the count of three. And on the count of three, that's when you'll want to take your photo. So you've got your hand as high as you can reach it. On 1, 2, 3, raise it higher. All right. Turn back around, face me. I know I'm between you and the door, but there's a point, I promise. Close your eyes a second. Just listen to the sound that you hear. And families, I need you to find your baby and show them all the love you got, because you've got graduates up here. David, come here. I've been asking students to do this the entire time I've been here. David is one of those students. And here's why. David told you that for all of the success you see, he's had that point where he didn't think he was going to make it, where he didn't think he was going to go any further, where he didn't think he was going to make that difference. There are people who will tell you you don't deserve to go any further, to make that difference. And there are times when you yourself will doubt whether you can. So when it happens, I want you to close your eyes. I want you to hear the sound you just heard pouring over you of the love of this school, this faculty, and your families. And I want you to go higher. Congratulations to the class of 2016.
One last time, congratulations to the first graduates of Facing History New Tech. You have a special place in our hearts. We are confident you will make a difference. We know this is just one of the many best days to come in your life. Thank you.